Welcome to Hooked on Wooden Boats podcast episode number 208. I'm your host today, Dan Matson, a.k.a. Wooden Boat Dan. If you can't do it, nobody can. And this is the world's first podcast fully dedicated to celebrating the art, craft, history, tradition, and romance of wooden vessels around the world. I appreciate you guys listening in today. This is going to get published on about August 28th, which is my mom's birthday. She's going to be, my mom's going to be 91 years old tomorrow. So if you're listening, Mom, God bless you. I hope you have a beautiful year next year, too. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. And today's featured segment is an interview I did at the 2017 Port Townsend Wooden Boat Festival with Josh Colvin and Marty Loken. Josh and Marty both live in the Port Townsend area. And Josh is editor of Small Craft Advisor magazine, and now Marty is associate editor. And we had a great time discussing a lot of fun topics, including the SCAMP, a new 6-foot 8-inch designed Pram, and talking about a little pilothouse sloop called Heather. It's always fun getting together with Josh and Marty, so guys, I would encourage you to stick around for the interview. Not a whole lot new in my end of things. Haven't worked on the SCAMP much in the last week since my last podcast. But next thing I had to do is mount I've got to paint the water ballast tank and then mount the centerboard and put on the rigging for the centerboard and then get the inside of the boat painted. So I'm making progress. I will have this boat done next year by spring. That's a goal now. Kind of reset my goals make them more realistic. Other than that, the boat festival in Port Townsend is coming up in another week and a half. And I'm going to be doing a class on Friday at 1:15 in the Explorer Room about boat building hacks. So if you can make it, I'd love to see you there. Come up and introduce yourself. And it should be fun. Anyway, we're going to move into the interview with Josh and Marty. Take it away, guys. Okay, September 9th, 2017, at the Port Townsend Wooden Boat Festival with two of my cronies, who I usually interview separately, Josh Colvin and Marty Loken. Welcome back to the podcast, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
It's kind of fun to have you together. And you guys develop new business relationships every year, or boating relationships, or whatever you want to call it.
Something like that, right?
Yeah. Both, actually.
Yeah.
Marty's nonstop, so anytime you can get a hold of the Marty train, you get on.
Let's start with Small Craft Advisor and Duckworks. Tell us what's going on there, Josh.
Yeah, so it's a big development in our world in that we acquired Duckworks Boat Builders Supply and have sort of merged that. We're in the same building now. We built a new warehouse and office space, and we've got Small Craft Advisor and Duckworks operating together. And it's good. It's been a great marriage and a lot of fun so far. Now we're obviously we have all the sort of media aspects of Small Craft Advisor and the Duckworks blog and website, but we're also selling boat building supplies now.
Yeah. So tell us, give us your advertisement up front here. What are you guys selling, Josh, and how do you buy it?
Yeah, so Duckworks is at Duckworks BBS for boatbuildersupply.com, and a lot of your listeners will probably be familiar with us. Chuck and Sandra Lineweber started the company about 18 years ago. I've acquired it from them, but they're still real actively involved and on staff with us, so it's been a nice transition. And they sell boat building supplies of 4,000 different items, from shackles and blocks and rope to fiberglass cloth and epoxy So all the supplies you could imagine for a backyard boat building.
And you're selling kits too, Josh, or is that part of Small Craft Advisor?
Yeah, we're keeping the companies separate. They're running independent of each other, but there's a nice overlap there. And so Small Craft sells some kits, and then Duckworks offers epoxy kits or fastener kits or hardware kits to go with it. So it's a nice setup.
Yeah. And how's you guys developed, or Chuck developed, or acquired a different kind of epoxy? Kind of a low is it VOX? Is that the correct terminology?
Yeah, low VOC.
VOC.
The DWX epoxy is something that Chuck got started with a formulator that they wanted to get into the boat building industry, and so they created an epoxy, and he worked with them back and forth to get something that has real low odor. And the other thing that's popular about it is it's the slow speed is very slow, which doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot to us here in the Pacific Northwest, but if you're working in 90 degrees in southeast, having an epoxy that you can have plenty of time to work with is a real treat. So it does quite well.
Yeah. So Marty, what have you been up to?
Well, I've been working with Josh as associate editor of Small Craft Advisor magazine.
That's something new, right? In the last year or something? 2 years?
Yeah, the last, at least a full year now, I think. I've written some feature stories for the magazine and haven't really done anything else except contribute ideas and anything I can offer to Small Craft Advisor and Duckworks, I'm happy to contribute. From a boat builder restorer perspective.
Yeah. So tell us about some of the current articles you guys are working on for Small Craft.
Well, we just finished a series on prams, the perfect pram we called it, something like that. Pursuit of the Perfect Pram, I think, was the alliteration. We did. That was a pretty big feature for us because Marty did a lot of research on prams, and it actually has led to. It's another kind of crossover. It's led to our Small Craft Advisor and a little bit of Duckworks, but to offering a pram kit. So it's a nice circle, a real good synergy when Marty presents an idea or I have an idea, and then we run with it, and it ends up being something where maybe we can go explore and learn about it, write about it in the magazine, then potentially you come out with a new idea or you want to release a kit or a new design or something, and then that turns into plans which sell through Duckworks, and then we're back in a big circle. So
does that include pram bowed boats or more traditional small pram type boats, or what? Yeah,
in this case it was...
The focus of the article was a review of the sort of history of pram design development over the ages and the emergence of the recreational pram about 100 years ago. And really the focus was on prams that Small Craft Advisor readers might actually use towing them behind small cruising sailboats. So we ended up developing a kit for a 6-foot 8-inch pram that probably will only weigh about 38 pounds and be very easy for small boat owners to tow as a tender.
Is that a stitch and glue boat, or?
Yeah. It'll be stitch and glue, and it's 4mm marine plywood, and will be available by the end of October, as soon as I finally get around to building the prototype.
So will that hold like 300 or 400 pounds of cargo kind of thing, or a couple people, a couple adults?
It will technically hold 3 adults, but realistically probably most often 2 adults or one, or one adult and a big dog and all the groceries that you need to haul back to the little mothership.
Yeah. So I'm curious, Marty, how did the pram design originate? Where did that come from?
It was designed in the early 70s by Murray Peterson Associates in Maine. Murray Peterson designed a lot of schooners and other classic wooden boats. And his son, William Peterson, finished off the pram design in the 70s, and it was originally a plank on frame, sort of traditional pram, heavier construction, and then it was built in plywood, in British Columbia by a boat builder for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But we sort of rediscovered the design doing research for the Pram article for the magazine.
Oh, I see.
And we thought, this is really the ideal Pram for small boat owners because of its size and its lightweight. And so we, with help from Brandon at Turnpoint Design, we were able to reinterpret the original plank-on-frame design as a stitch-and-glue kit, which will be available soon through Smallcraft Advisor.
Yeah.
This is that thing I was talking about where it's the synergy and everything, but it's the organic way these things developed is so much fun right now. You know, working in this town, and if people like Marty, we have like it totally kind of evolves on its own, right? We're doing research about prams with no particular idea of building a pram or offering a kit or doing anything else.
Right.
You get feedback from all these different pram owners, and it turns out there's one that seems to stand out in terms of the real positive feedback. And then this guy's presenting letters to us from other reputable sources saying, hey, that was an incredible pram. You know, it rows so well, it holds, it carries well, and then this leads to, you know, where is that pram? And we find the plans, and then the designer is happy to offer the plans up, and he likes the idea of a kit, and then we go see someone like Brandon, who's so great at making kit setting something and making it a little better yet. Marty puts in, you know, changes the seating to make it better yet, so the boat has improved. And, you know, in the process of going out and researching for a single article, we've developed a whole new cool thing. You know?
You guys get paid to do this kind of stuff?
Josh does.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
So how much rocker does a boat like that have? I'm assuming that's kind of a key to a good pram is the correct amount of rocker.
Lots of rocker. The goal is to have it almost be double-ended at the waterline, so that you're not dragging a pram transom around or pushing water with one.
Yeah.
So it has quite a bit of rocker because of its short length.
Yeah. Yeah. So how does the bow compare to the transom size-wise on that boat?
Oh, the bow is incrementally smaller than the stern transom.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful pram in terms of pure design. It has the sweetest shear line, very springy shear line, and it's just very attractive. It's not a box. It's a very shapely little boat.
Yeah. So what will that have on the bottom to keep it going straight in the water?
It'll have twin skegs, short little skegs, and it'll lay flat on the bottom, and nothing fancy, but it, you know, from everything we know about the pram design, it tracks really well despite its short length and a lot of rocker in the bottom.
It's just so appealing too, given the nature of the boats that most of our readers sail. You know, the idea of towing anything is already a little prohibitive. So this nice small light thing that you could actually drag aboard, or, you know, car top or whatever.
Can you put a little electric motor on it or anything like that, or is it pretty much all row?
You could, but I wouldn't bother. I mean, it'll row as fast as you could push it with a little electric outboard, and you don't want to be carrying a big battery around in your 6'8" pram. It's really better to just row the thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but you know, there's people out there, you know, hang something on it, right?
They are on their own.
They can't resist. Yeah. So, what other projects have you guys been working on together?
Well, we did a big anchoring article. It's the same kind of thing where Marty did a bunch of research. We actually interviewed our readers. It's been an interesting dynamic that we've sort of discovered since Marty came aboard more formally, and that is tapping into our readers as a resource for feedback on everything. You know, so if you think about the 30,000 readers we have, what have they learned, and what is their favorite, and what obstacles they've overcome. We're finding that they're a great resource. So we have these email blasts, we do, and it goes out to a big percentage of those readers. And we've done that a number of times, including this anchoring article. Tell us about what anchor worked best for you. Tell us about when an anchor failed you. What kind of anchor was it? How heavy was it? All these kind of questions. They fill out and answer all these questions for us. And we're able to go back and not only quote them at times, but also kind of get a consensus now. And it was really, I found it very educational. Marty, we set up the questionnaire, And then when Marty kind of compiled all the information and distilled it down, you come to some pretty remarkable conclusions. You realize, with all, so many of our guys, like a Danforth anchor, extremely popular, but far and away the most popular anchor, but then also the one that's seems to be maybe not as good as some of the other anchors. There actually are some people who have different types of anchors that are, work out significantly better.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting project and one that we did recently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it resulted in you carrying one of the top-rated new anchors.
Really?
That's available on the market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we went out and with Duckworks, we went out and started carrying, tracked down Mantis anchors and asked them to become a dealer based on this article, because as we started seeing the sort of research, it's some of it anecdotal, but looking at all the research, it looked like, hey, this is actually a better anchor, that particular type. So, and now we've been selling it through Duckworks with real good results.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's the best way to do it.
Yeah, that is. You got like your own 30,000 researchers out there figuring out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Why not tap into that?
We've been doing one of our future projects we've discussed is I've been kind of wanting to put together a book on small boat seaworthiness and what makes a boat seaworthy and less or more so, especially with smaller craft. And we're going to be going to our readers here soon to talk to them about seaworthiness, same kind of thing as the anchor, but when you had your scariest moment or your most trying time on the water, what was the situation? What was going on in terms of weather? What kind of boat were you on? In what ways did the boat fail you? Or what ways could the boat have been better in that situation? These kinds of questions, and kind of compiling and distilling all that down into maybe finding a theme, certain things that people consistently get in trouble with, or a certain feature that would be.
Sounds really interesting.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the SCAMP. Was SCAMP number 1 started in 2010, Josh, or 2011? I can't remember.
Yeah, I want to say it was 2011. I'm terrible at keeping track of that stuff.
Yeah,
the dates
right.
I'm bad with dates.
Yeah. So what's happening with the SCAMP these days?
So it's continued to be a popular design. It finally sort of peaked, I think. I thought, it kind of leveled off and it slowed down a little bit. There seemed like there's plenty of steady interest, but it seemed to have sort of cooled off a bit. And then as of about a year ago, it sort of picked up steam again.
Really?
Yeah, with a lot more interest and number of kits sold, and Howard Rice just did another SCAMP camp here locally, built a few more boats. So that the whole thing has picked up. I've also gotten a lot more interest from abroad now. We have added two people now selling, or two companies offering kits elsewhere in Europe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's just recent development there, and I always assumed it would happen. You think about all the people with mirror dinghies, and when they want to step up to something a little bigger, or they're a little older now, that kind of thing. So I always thought SCAMP would do well over there, and there's a lot of new interest. And there's been some changes, some of the stuff that Howard has done with his boat for his expedition version. Yeah. There have been some changes, people wanting to adapt a few of those things. The open foot well, and maybe putting in a lazarette or some of these things. So it's still evolving.
The open footwell, is that going to be part of the new kit then?
We're gonna incorporate. We're calling it a Mark II, more or less. The thing that's nice about Scamper, I'm happy about, is that nothing terribly important has ever changed. The rig never needed changing. The whole shape has never changed. Everything about the boat has been real consistent.
Yeah.
Any things we've changed in the builder's manual have been small details. So this will be the biggest changes we've made to the kit, and all we're going to do is at bulkhead number 3, where you've got that kind of open bulkhead
at the back of the cabin.
After the cabin, we're going to go ahead and narrow that down so that it's a much. Fundamentally, what you're looking for is if the boat were to lay on its side, would you keep the water from going, water from going forward?
Yeah.
And this will do that. And what we're going to do with it, though, because there are those who don't worry about that kind of thing with SCAMP, and they're going to be day sailing and they'd like more space, is we're going to go ahead and have the back side of it, the forward side of that bulkhead scribed, so that if you want to cut it back to the original shape, you have that option.
I see.
So that's one change. The second change, they're all fairly minor. The second change is we're going to make the seats about an inch wider. People find that why not make them a little wider? It's more comfortable. And then the addition of the footwell is the third.
And the footwell's between bulkheads 5 and 6, and it's 18 inches wide?
About 24 inches wide.
24, okay.
Yeah, and then it's gonna be right between there. And the nice thing about that footwell is, of course, it can be if you want it, fine. If you don't, you just drop in a piece of plywood and keep going. You don't have to have it.
Right. So. For people who go taut want some more legroom, though.
Yeah.
So that puts water down lower in the boat.
It does.
How do you deal with that? How do people deal with that?
Various ways. There's been people doing Venturi bailers or having other bailing systems. There's some people don't mind the idea because they think, well, at least whatever water comes aboard is contained and very accessible. It's in one particular spot, so you can bilge pump it or treat it different ways. One thing we've learned over the years with all the capsize testing with SCAMP is that it rarely takes a lot of water aboard. Even coming back from a full inversion, it didn't scoop a lot of water, and so repeatedly. So and it seems to sail well, as Simeon learned in the race to Alaska there. And we've learned previously with people, one guy who holed his boat years ago, the boat will sail with a compartment full of water anyway.
Interesting. Yeah. So have you been getting that on your SCAMP, Josh?
A little bit. I was joking earlier, though, that I'm sailing other people's boats more, and sometimes Marty's and review boats, and it's kind of fun. I'm on all kinds of different boats lately.
Yeah, cool. So Marty, last year we sat on your garden boat, little garden boat.
Right. Sky, the garden eel.
Yeah, and we talked about the projects you were working on. Give us an update on what you're up to.
Well, I had an opportunity to purchase a project boat that I'd been lusting after for 35 long years. Boat ownership requires patience. But my friend Tim Nolan, the naval architect, who I knew back in the Seattle days in the 1970s, Tim designed a little 16-foot double-ended pilothouse sloop named Heather in 1972 and built it over a 7-year period, launching it in 79 into Lake Union. And I photographed the boat a lot in the early 80s when Tim was campaigning and cruising the boat a lot. And he moved to Port Townsend, and then later I moved to the Port Townsend area, and we reacquainted in Port Townsend. And when I realized that he had parked Heather in his backyard under a shed roof and that it was no longer going in the water every year, I knew I had him. So it was just a matter of playing out the game and pestering him every few months, and with the threat that if he didn't get it back in the water himself, I would, and he'd have to sell it to me. Mm-hmm. And the boat continued to molder away in the backyard and suffer UV damage to the brightwork. And so anyway, this last fall, just about the time I was fully enjoying the garden eel, which I loved sailing, and Josh sailed and reviewed in the magazine, all of a sudden Tim Nolan relented and told me one day that maybe it was time for him to let it go. So at that point, after bugging somebody for a long time about selling their boat, you don't say no when he says yes. So anyway, we bought Heather, and it's now in the boat shop awaiting complete cosmetic restoration and a repowering over the winter. And we'll have Heather here at the Wooden Boat Festival a year from now and start campaigning it again, and probably will write some sort of feature on cruising this very unusual double-ended 16-footer, some sort of feature for the magazine.
It's got a standing pilot house.
Yeah, it's got standing headroom inside a very traditional little Scandinavian style pilot house. It looks like a miniature old double-ended Scandinavian fishing boat. Those boats were 50 to 60 feet in length sometimes. This is 16 feet, but it has the same double-ended hull shape. And
what's the construction on that boat?
It's strip planked with mahogany planking. It's fiberglassed entirely on the outside, and it has this aft standing room pilot house with inside and outside steering and controls, whether you're sailing or motoring. It has a small diesel engine right now, which I will be removing in October after I build the Pram. And
what would you say if I wasn't here?
Yeah, something else.
Yeah.
And then we'll do a total refinish and have the boat in the water next spring.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen it, Dan?
I've only seen pictures.
Yeah. It is a forward and aft cabins. I mean, separate, discrete cabins.
Oh.
I remember somebody was talking to me that was trying to get it from Tim years ago. He kept coming by the booth and said, man, the Heather is so incredible. And I said, yeah, it's an amazing boat, you know. And he said, but I want to cruise it with my wife. He said, it's got 2 cabins. He goes, she can do her thing. I can be back there doing my thing. And this is on a 16-foot boat.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So the forward cabin has its own separate little companionway down into the cabin, and it's the galley. And there's a very narrow, sort of child-sized single berth on the starboard side, down in the galley compartment. Mm-hmm. And then this sort of passageway along the starboard side that leads aft into the larger double berth inside the pilot house.
So you can go from forward to aft cabins inside the boat?
You can sort of belly crawl between, but it's really much easier to go up into the cockpit and down through the companionway.
Yeah.
But it's a totally weird and abnormal and lovable, precious design, that a brilliant job of engineering by Tim Nolan. It has some features that are it's like a little ship in construction and design. He started out imagining that he was designing a 60-foot long double-ended canoe yawl, because he had an 8-foot by 60-foot driveway in his house in Ballard back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. And then he sobered up and realized that he didn't really need to build a 60-foot boat of any design. And he started scaling it down and down and down as a design exercise to try to figure out how small a boat could he build or design and still have all the accommodations he really needed, not just all the ones he wanted, but what did he really need in a small cruising boat. And it ended up being Heather, this bizarre little 16-foot double-ender with a lot of volume, bilge keels, inspired directly by a Scandinavian double-ended workboat. And the boat, for 16 feet, it weighs 3,000 pounds. Wow. So it is sort of like a little ship in that regard.
Right.
But the big question for me has been power. I really dislike, and Tim didn't like, this little single-cylinder 7-horse diesel that he'd put in the boat years ago. It's too loud, it's too smelly. Mm-hmm. It tries to shake the boat apart. It's just an annoying companion to live with in a 16-foot boat.
Yeah.
So the diesel comes out, and it'll either be replaced for next season, but either by a little inboard marine gas engine, or by an outboard, 4-stroke outboard that's planted in a very particularly designed well, so that the outboard is not seen from the outside of the boat.
So you would add a motor well to the boat, or would
I'd build
the existing?
I still am struggling with the decision over which way to go for next season. But I would design a well that was on this port side of inside the pilot house, on the port side aft, about 2 feet forward of the stern stem. Mm-hmm. And it would be designed in a way that the outboard motor was totally encased in a soundproof box that was ventilated from the outside of the hull. Mm-hmm. And the only time you would realize there was an outboard in the boat would be when the lower unit was tipped up and you could see have sort of a little peekaboo view of the skeg, prop end of the skeg of the outboard sticking up through a little mouse hole in the port stern area of the hull. Otherwise, you'd never know there was an outboard in the boat.
Yeah. And the long-term plan is still electric, though.
Yeah, I really want to develop a hybrid marine electric drive system and install that in the boat long-term. And I could do that this year. It's expensive to buy all the components, and today's battery technology is just still not that impressive unless you have a lot of money to put into the high-end lithium batteries. I can't afford 48-volt lithium battery system. I mean, I don't want to put more money into batteries than I put into the boat. So, at a certain point, I think I'll probably wait a few years for battery prices and technology to move a little farther forward before doing that.
Yeah. Do you have any other boats you're working on right now, Marty?
I've got 4 projects for the winter.
You do?
Well, 5. Because the first thing I do have to do is Josh's Portage Pram, and which will be small enough for him to tow behind his SCAMP. And this might be the first SCAMP with its own dinghy.
Yeah.
That'll sort of match.
It will, yeah, have the right look.
And then the second project is the restoration of Heather. Third is the complete refinishing of Oyster, our 26-foot pilothouse sloop. And the fourth one is completing the restoration of a 16.5-foot Rana sloop, which is a Norwegian-built lapstrake boat that I dragged home. And then I'm also still fussing around with this 20-foot Chesapeake crabbing skiff that Josh and I really enjoyed sailing.
Yeah.
It needs a lighter mast, and I'm having it came to us with just a single leg of mutton mainsail, and which is fine, but we know it goes faster if you add a jib. And the original 1862 design featured a club-footed, sort of balanced, self-tending jib pivoting off of the stem head, and so I'm having a jib made for the Chesapeake crabbing skiff. And then I have a few other boats to refinish, but
you better go home and get started, Marty.
I've been a bad boy by sailing all summer instead of working on boats, and so I'm actually really looking forward to the fall and winter and getting back in the boat shop.
Yeah. You have a heated shop, Marty?
No.
You wish, huh?
No, I don't. I enjoy working in colder weather. You just layer up and go for it.
Yeah. Are you going to get that dust collection system this year?
No. No, I'm going to die an early death.
You're going to keep using your nose.
Some sort of terrible lung disease.
Cool. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys being on the podcast today. Anything you can think of we didn't talk about that's on your mind?
No, it's always great to talk with you, though.
Yeah.
Just to catch up.
Yeah, very cool.
We'll go for a sail aboard Heather next year.
Oh, I would love that. That would be fun. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Okay.
Thanks.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Thanks for doing the interview, Josh and Marty. It's always fun to hook up and talk shop and see what you guys are up to, which you're really always, I would say, up to some really cool stuff. So keep up the great work there on the wooden boats and on Small Craft Advisor and all that fun stuff. Anyway, if you'd like to connect with me, folks, my email is woodenboatdan@gmail.com. Shoot me a email with some photos. Tell me about your project. Ask questions. Whatever you'd like to do there would be awesome. I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you do make purchases on Amazon, there's a Harley in the background there. It's a nice warm evening here in Stanwood, Washington. Anyway, if you do make purchases on Amazon, if you go through my link, I get paid a small commission. HookedOnWoodenBoats.com/Amazon and make your purchase. Helps pay for the podcast. I appreciate it. Anyway, folks, if you're not in the wooden boat game, I would encourage you to get in. I've even got an ebook about it. Go to my website and find it, HookedOnWoodenBoats.com, or Amazon Kindle book. It's there also. So check it out if you get a chance. Anyway, keep the bright side up and the barnacled side down. Wooden Boat Dan over and out. God bless.